Hi, my name is Robert Camp and welcome to another class on the science of the cards. Today we're going to talk about all the cards that are symbols of who you are. They're representatives. I call them personal significators of us, you and I. And we start with the birth card. When I first learned the science of the cards, which was over 25 years ago, there was only one card that was a symbol for each person. And that was the birth card, which is determined by a formula, a mathematical formula, so that every day of the year is symbolized by one card. It governs that day of the year. So if you're born on that day, your life is mirrored by that card of the day you're born. It's just like your sun sign. You know, you're born in a certain time of the year and it has a certain sun sign, which is a symbol of your personality and characteristics and so forth. So I had no idea there were any other cards, except that my teacher, Arnie Lean, told me that there were personality cards that can be used also. And that personality card was basically the jack, queen, or king of the suit of your birth card. So if you were, let's say, like Johnny Depp here, an 8 of diamonds, your personality cards would be the jack of diamonds or the king of diamonds. And he had some rules about that, but that's basically all that we had. As I began using the cards, years later, I discovered that there were other cards that were more significant as significators. And I want to talk about those today so you understand all of them, a little bit about them, how they are derived and so forth. The first one that came to me was this, what I call the planetary ruling card. Now this is determined by your sun sign. Whatever astrological sun sign you are, it is ruled by a planet. Let's say, for example, Johnny Depp. He's a Gemini. Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury, and so then you would take that planet and whatever card in your life spread matched that planet, it would be your planetary ruling card. So in this case, we're looking at Johnny Depp's life spread, and his Mercury card in his life spread is a King of Spades. So one could say, or what we do say, is that Johnny Depp's planetary ruling card is a King of Spades. So we have this 8 of diamonds and we have the King of Spades. Now this has proven to be very true in terms of personality traits and relationships with other people, the connections that we derive for other people. I have found that the ruling card is just as important as the birth card as far as when you're looking at connections with people and looking at people's personalities. Just very much so. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people identify stronger with their planetary ruling card than they do their birth card. So if you ever read somebody about their birth card and they don't quite connect with it, try reading to them about their planetary ruling card as if it was their birth card. Just read that chapter of the ruling card, and I'm sure that you'll find that they say, oh, that's really how I am. So it's a lot about identity, you know. We're here like, we're talking about identity. We tend to act out of these cards and we tend to think that we are these cards, the birth card and the ruling card. So there's also this thing called karma cards, and karma cards are also mirrors of us, and we do use them as personal significators when we're doing relationship readings. So let's say like Johnny Depp's karma cards, I know them by heart. He's a Queen of Spades and he's also a 7 of Clubs. So if you were looking at your connections with Johnny Depp, you would also look at his 8 of Diamonds, his King of Spades, and you would also look at his 7 of Clubs and his Queen of Spades, because those are karma cards of his birth card. And you can even go farther than that. You can use the karma cards of the ruling card if the ruling card has them. Johnny Depp's King of Spades doesn't have the kind of karma cards that we use for relationship connections, because he's part of a special, the King of Spades is one of the 7 cards in the deck that are fixed and semi-fixed. They fall in a special family, and we don't use those for relationship connections. So recently, well, not recently, really about 10 years ago, I began using what's called a decanate ruling card. At first, I thought it was very interesting. It made sense, but I never saw the real true significance of it. Until one year, I was looking at my cards and trying to find information that matched what I had been going through in a particular period, and I didn't see it in my birth or ruling card spread. So I just happened to plug in and take a look at my decanate ruling card, and lo and behold, it was so right on what it said there. It really explained it. So then I began to start researching that, and I found it to be extremely true. The decanate ruling card comes from a theory where everybody's sun sign, every sign in the zodiac, they divide it up into 3 10-degree segments. One sign is 30 degrees. So they take the sun sign and they divide it up into the first 10, the second 10, and the third 10. And depending on what 10 you are, it gives you a different card. Now I'm going to have another video that explains this in more detail. And the decanate ruling card is something you have to know the degrees of your sun sign in order to, it's not enough just to know your sun sign. You need to know how many degrees that sun sign is. And you need to know a little bit about astrology. So we're going to cover that in another video. But once you find this decanate ruler, you'll find there's, again, another really powerful thing. Not only does it symbolize who you are, but it also is very important in relationship connections. You'll find that it explains relationships that you might not have seen explained in other connections that you have with the birth and the ruling card, planetary ruling card, or the karmic cards. So the decanate ruling card, and also I've been using, as I said earlier, that I've been using the decanate ruling card yearly spread. So we can do that now. Like, for example, Johnny Depp's decanate ruler happens to be a 3 of hearts. Which would explain a lot when you think about it, because it's a really creative birthday, a really creative card. It's self-expressive. It really explains more of all the different kinds of roles that he plays. And it's also asexual. It's kind of ambisexual or bisexual. And you can see, like, some of Johnny Depp's characters have been very kind of like on the border between male and female. And that's 3 of hearts. So we see that displayed there. So I do hope you'll look up take some time to learn about the decanate ruler as well. And you can look that up in the book. Once you know it, you can read the yearly spreads. Here we're looking at my software program, and I can quickly switch between Johnny Depp's birth card spreads, his planetary ruling card spreads, and his decanate ruling card spreads for the year or for the life or whatever. You can do this manually using just my books, The Cards of Your Destiny, also. So these things are all symbols of ourselves that can be used to see how these parts of our lives are playing out. So they represent like aspects of our personality. We are complex beings. We are complex beings. We have many sub-personalities within us. And these ruling cards and birth card and karma cards all point to that, these different segments. And looking at their yearly spreads, we get a glimpse into what's happening to that part of our personality for any given time period. Alrighty, well, thank you for joining us for this class, and I hope to have more soon, especially the one on the decanate ruling card. Just stay tuned. Thank you.